The New York Giants once again find another way to lose another football game to the Dallas Cowboys. And they are becoming a franchise now that you are expecting this team to lose every single week that they play. Where do I start here with this team tonight, right? You want to start Brian Daboll. You want to start with we'll start with the head coach. I thought Daboll came up with a pretty good game plan to alleviate the pass rush of the Dallas Cowboys. They just don't. Nothing goes right for the Giants anymore when it comes to putting all the phases of winning a football game together and it happening on a weekly basis. The Giants are finding new and creative ways to lose football games now, and it's becoming extremely depressing to watch. Every week with this team, it's something different. Every week with this team, it's the defense is giving up points. The offense can't score points. The special teams are blundering. We don't have a kicker one week. We lose on a 60-yard field goal. We lose on a 63-yard field goal in the last couple of years. Everything is becoming a problem now with this team. Everything that they do to lose now. And there's no one finger to point at one specific person. There's no finger to point at one specific side of the football. It's everybody now. It's everybody. This team just doesn't connect with anything anymore. You know, where do you start? Where do you start with this franchise? I said I was in I'm watching the live stream with a few other YouTubers, and I commented, and I just feel this way now. Like at 30, I'm 33 years old now, right? So I grew up seeing success and winning, and what it's like to be what it's like to cheer for a successful football team. And this wasn't what I was watching when I was growing up for the first 25 years of my life. You know, everything that they do, again, they do to lose now, right? It's the last decade of this team has been utterly horrendous to watch. And I feel like we're about to go in another cycle of that. And it seems eerily familiar now with Malik Neighbors and comparing him to Odell Beckham, where Odell Beckham for years was all the Giants, was the only reason to watch a football game. Now, what I'm afraid is going to happen again, and don't get me wrong, I love Malik Neighbors. I said he was going to be the best player in this draft, and he's showing you weekly now that he's trending in that direction. I said, you know, we had Beckham for years, and that was the reason I think that we received some primetime games, maybe because of having the flash of Odell Beckham and his popularity. I see Malik Neighbors trending in that direction. And unfortunately, it seems like right now, the only reason to watch a Giant football game is to see what Malik Neighbors does when he gets on the field. And we can't have another 5-6 years like that again. We went through that with Beckham. And now we're going to go through it with Malik Neighbors. And it's there's no I'm watching the game and just my emotions again, they're up and down because the Giants had a realistic shot to beat the Cowboys tonight. The Cowboys are not a good team. The Dallas Cowboys are not a good team. They have a great quarterback in Dak Prescott, who he's extremely underappreciated by Cowboy fans. They have a very good quarterback in Prescott. They still got a good offensive line, although Tyler Guyton, he needed a lot of help today against Kayvon Thibodeau. They still got they got a good head coach in Mike McCarthy. You know, say what you want about Mike McCarthy. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. You know, you can't take that away from him. He's won 12 games the last 3 years. You know, Dallas has the pieces in place. And I just saw Richard Sherman on the Postgame, and this was the most telling statement that I've seen somebody make against the Giants. The Cowboys the Cowboys can play a bad game like they played tonight and get away with winning because Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the other team. And it tonight, if you look at the numbers, 29 out of 40, I think Jones 281. That last interception, you don't count. It was on a Hail Mary attempt at the end of the game. But again, 0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns for Daniel Jones. And it's not like they weren't moving the football up and down the field. They had opportunities. They were in the red zone a few times, and they settled for 5 Greg Joseph field goals. Now, we made fun of the Commanders for settling for field goals. Excuse me. We made fun of the Commanders for settling for field goals 2 weeks ago. And now this week, we're the team that's kicking the field goals. But this time, we can't get it done. So, again, they're finding new ways to lose now as a franchise. A once storied franchise is wiping away the great memories that they've given us over the however many years that you've grown up being a Giants fan. I know that there was some dark times with being the Giants fan with Dave Brown, and in the 70s, they weren't the best of teams. But this team, this current franchise, and I'm counting the last decade or so. This franchise as a whole over the last decade or 11 seasons, they're wiping away all of the great memories that we all had throughout the years, right? If the Giants were a consistent winning team as they were, but they were falling short of the playoffs, it didn't seem, the team didn't seem to be in disarray. Maybe we wouldn't feel this way after 11 seasons of complete torture. Right? It's just been the same dog and pony show with this team, shifting in head coaches and GMs. This is not something that Giant fans have been used to for years. For years, nobody's been used to this. So I'm going to go up and down the line here, starting with the quarterback. I've seen a lot of people saying that the quarterback played well. Daniel Jones played well enough to win a game without finishing the job. This franchise, 11 seasons. 11 seasons of just complete dog crap, right? Besides Odell Beckham, what's been the best thing about this franchise for 11 seasons? We had Eli Manning up until like 2019, and then the Daniel Jones era started. This team's been to the playoffs twice in 10 seasons, twice in 11 years. They haven't been good. They've been the worst team in football. Them and the Jets have been the 2 worst teams in football. And, it just, again, like I said before, I'm 33. So growing up, I saw consistent winning. So this is not something that I've been used to. And seeing this team flush in head coaches, flush in GMs every 2 seasons, it's just a repeating cycle now with this franchise. They're becoming the doormat of the NFL. And if you look up the it feels just like yesterday that this team was great, that this team had a quarterback that in these type of games where it's close like this, he's going to go down and get you the touchdown in the fourth quarter. He's going to get you that clutch touchdown that you need, or at least with Manning. I hate to go into an Eli Manning, Daniel Jones thing because it's been so long, but, growing up spoiled, having a quarterback like Manning, you always knew in the fourth quarter, you just felt that Manning would get the job done. This time, this game was just kind of the epitome for what Daniel Jones is as a quarterback. He underthrew the ball a lot tonight. Malik Neighbors, that first play when Malik Neighbors hit the double move on the cornerback, Daniel Jones has to throw that ball. Again, you're happy he completed the pass for 40 yards, but Daniel Jones has to throw that football in stride, and Malik Neighbors is scoring a touchdown. Like, that's the difference of a great team and an okay to bad team. That's the big difference there. I don't know what good quarterback play is now for so long. And Jones is missing guys left and underthrowing guys a lot tonight. It wasn't the underneath stuff. It wasn't the intermediate stuff that Jones really had an issue with tonight. You could see on a lot of these curls that Jones's arm strength doesn't seem to be there. I know that was one of his negatives coming out of the draft, was that Jones's deep ball was a lot to be desired. He kind of airmails it more than puts it over the top. So it's like Slayton torched the guy in the third quarter. Jones underthrew him. Like I said before, Neighbors on that first open play, he hits Neighbors in stride there. He scores a touchdown. So again, Jones in the red zone, didn't finish the job. You have to find a way to punch the ball in. He got amazing pass blocking from the offensive line tonight. I don't know. This might have been the best offensive line pass blocking that Jones has ever seen since becoming a New York Giant. He had time in the pocket. He was able to go through his progressions. I don't know if he's ever felt that comfortable in the pocket before, but he was able to go through his progressions, and he made some good throws to some guys. And his receivers didn't help him out at all tonight. Slayton, where's Jalen Hyatt? Has Jalen Hyatt become that much in the doghouse for the Giants that he just doesn't step on the field anymore? Jones threw a great out pass. Jones put it where he had to put it on a big 3rd and 14 play in the red zone, one of the last couple drives for the Giants. He put a great out pass to Slayton, and Slayton dropped it. He put the ball on the outside because that's where you're supposed to throw the football. You're not supposed to throw the football inside so the corner can make a play. Jones put it only where Slayton could catch it, and he just flat out dropped it. That's the kind of play where I'm looking at, where's Jalen Hyatt? Why is Jalen Hyatt not on the field? The tight end's non-existent right now in this Giant offense. The running back tonight was, Singletary was an inch away from fumbling another football. I liked what I saw out of Tyrone Tracy tonight. Besides Tyrone Tracy's not a kick returner. The Giants got to figure something out and get somebody brought in you have 11 days off now. Get somebody on the team that could catch the football on kick returns and just run the ball out and just hold it. The bar is so low now for kick returners on the Giants. We're so happy that the guy just doesn't fumble anymore. We're just happy to keep the ball in our possession. That's how low the bar is. And that's the same bar that's low for Daniel Jones as well. Like Jones played okay tonight. He didn't, he played okay, but there's going to be people that see the stat line, or that maybe didn't watch the full game or didn't see all the underthrows, and they're going to say, "Oh, he played well. This one's on the defense, or this one's on the running game, and this one." Everything, as you saw, everything for Daniel Jones has to go perfectly right for him to win a football game. Giants had no running game tonight, and that was the biggest slap in the face watching this game all night, was the fact that they couldn't establish the run against the Dallas Cowboys run defense that through the first 3 weeks of the NFL is historically putrid. It is historically bad, the run defense. And the Giants just couldn't get anything done on the ground. And, guys were falling down left and right. Parsons got hurt late in the game. Hopefully he's okay. Diggs was cramping up. Guys were dropping like flies out there. But Singletary just never got it going. Like I said, too, he was an inch away from fumbling. So, he's playing with – Singletary's playing with fire every single week. And he needs to hold on to the football. He's just got to hold on to the football. Again, like I said, I like what I saw from Tyrone Tracy. I like that the Giants got him involved a lot more in this game. I think he broke a tackle on a big play. I think you're going to see a lot more of Tyrone Tracy in the coming weeks as the Giants move forward throughout this rest of the season. Tight ends nowhere to be found. Where do you go from here, right? I think on offense, I think the Giants are a quarterback away. I think the Giants are about a quarterback away from being a very good football team. I really do. I think the Giants are just one quarterback away. That's it. I think they're building I think the Giants are building a very good foundation here. They've revamped the offensive line. We've been asking for that for so long. It seems like they've hit. I mean, Andrew Thomas is a complete stud. JMS in the middle. Those are two young pieces you're going to have there for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. You got guys, Illuminor was brought in for a couple of years. Runyon was brought in for a couple of years. And Van Routen slipped right in, and he's playing pretty well too. So you have pieces now on the offensive line. And, you know, the run blocking tonight was pretty atrocious. The Giants got pounded at the line of scrimmage in terms of run blocking. 24 rushes for 26 total yards on the ground is unacceptable for a Cowboys run defense that's been giving up 400 total yards in the last 2 weeks rushing the football. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. This, to me, was a game. Let me see. I mean, you had every opportunity, man. You had every opportunity to win this goddamn game, and they couldn't punch the ball into the end zone. Every time they had a great drive, it was just stalled. It would just stall. I don't know whether it was a crap call from the officials. That's another thing. Going to the referees, and you can't blame the refs for this loss, although it was pretty blatant. It was pretty obvious in that first quarter. The referees call. The ref throws a flag on Daniel Bellinger. No, the referee throws a flag on Overshawn, the linebacker for the Cowboys, for a face mask. Throws it. He tells the official, it's right on TV. He tells the official, face mask on the defense, 13. The other referee says, no, you threw that for Bellinger, because his hands were there too. So then the ref who throws the flag says, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I threw it for Bellinger. Maybe I missaw it. Excuse me? No. The referees have to be held accountable for that type of stuff. The Giants were moving the football. That potentially, you can't say that they would have scored a touchdown because you just don't know, but that had potential to get into the end zone. It had potential. That stole the drive. Giants had to settle for 3. Okay. Following drive for the Dallas Cowboys, they drive downfield. They run a screenplay. Spencer Dowdle, he runs it into the end zone. The referee threw the flag instantly as soon as he saw the hold on Thibodeau. The ref threw the flag instantly. We saw it on TV live. We screamed it out. We said, that's a hold. Call it back. The ref threw the flag. He must have heard us. The referee threw the flag. And we say, okay, ball's going to come back. Giants catch a break. No. Referee just picks it up. No flag. Touchdown. What? Touchdown? What are we doing? The referees were all-time bad today on both sides. The calls against the Giants were a lot more detrimental to them than they were to Dallas, but the referees were all-time bad today. This game, that first half felt like it took 3 hours to play. I don't know how anybody else felt watching that game, but it just seemed like the first half was never going to end, and it didn't end for like 2 hours. And then it's flag after flag after flag that just kept the Giants and Cowboys playing, which is great because now you got 11 days to rest. You don't know when you're going to see your team again. But there's just no words. This team is broke. The team is broken. There's no moral victories anymore for this team. Moral victories come for teams that are, let me give you an example of what a moral victory is, right? The Buffalo Bills, right? When Josh Allen was third year of Josh Allen, when they get to the AFC Championship, they lose to the Chiefs, and they played a tough game, right? But they lost. That's a moral victory. Because what's in hindsight, what's coming after that is years of success and years of great quarterback play and great coaching and great drafting and great decisions, free agency, trades, letting guys go. You don't get moral victories when your team's been brutally bad for over a decade now. You don't get moral victories anymore. Moral victories belong to teams that are up and coming or teams that are like on the precipice of being competitive. The Detroit Lions went through it 2 years ago. Detroit going into San Francisco and hanging with the 49ers 2 years ago or last year, that's a moral victory because the Detroit Lions are now a very good team. You don't get moral victories when you're the Giants. When you've lost 13, excuse me, now when you've now lost 14 out of the last 15 games to your division rival Cowboys, you don't get moral victories for keeping it within 5 points at the end of the game. Doesn't work like that. It's pathetic that fans even think about moral victories at this point. It's pathetic. Pathetic. Moral victories for a team that's been just a joke and a doormat of a franchise for so long now. Over a decade. Over a decade of just bad football. Just in the most simplest of terms, bad football is what we've been subject to. And Giant fans don't deserve it. You don't deserve to spend $500, $600 for tickets and all this other crap and take a whole day out of your life to sit and watch this team invent new ways to lose every single week. 2 weeks ago, they get 7 field goals kicked against them, and they lose. That's inventing. They're inventing new ways to lose. They're inventing new ways to lose. Defensive side of the football tonight. The most disappointing part of this defense right off the bat, because they didn't have Andrew Phillips and they didn't have Adoree Jackson tonight. So they were shorthanded in the secondary. And Dallas took advantage of that. But the most disappointing part of this defense is the fact that they can't generate any pass rush without blitzing. That is really, really disappointing, right? I thought that this team was going to hang their hat on Brian Burns, who they paid a ton of money for, and they've gotten little to no production out of him besides the strip sack last week against Cleveland. This is Brian Burns' 4th game now with the Giants, and all we could talk about is that strip sack against Cleveland. That's not good. That's not good. This guy's not a 5th-round pick that you're expecting to come out of nowhere and make a couple good plays. You traded draft capital for this guy, and you paid him $150 million to rush the passer, sack the quarterback, create turnovers. That's what you're paying Brian Burns to do, right? You're not paying Brian Burns to make the occasional tackle on a 3-yard gain from the running back. You're paying Burns to get to the quarterback. Dexter Lawrence tonight, typical Dexter Lawrence type game. Pushed the pocket a little bit. Didn't really affect the run game too much. Dallas kind of ran the ball at will whenever they really wanted to. Kayvon Thibodeau probably played his best game of the season. Followed up. I know he had 5 pressures against Washington. I know he had a couple pressures last week, a quarterback hit, and a big stop on a 4th-and-1 play against Cleveland. And this week he had a sack. He did a really good job on that last drive of the first half for Dallas when they were getting into field goal range. He beat Guyton on the play with a juke, and then he just got right to the Dak Prescott and sacked him. And it killed that drive pretty much for Dallas. That was a great play by Thibodeau. He had a few pressures today on Prescott. He definitely played his best game of the season. Not much from the linebackers today. I didn't really see much out there. But when I rewatch the film, I'll have to look. But when the corners, I thought Cordell Flott played a pretty good game actually on the outside. Usually he's in the slot, but I thought he played a pretty decent game on the outside. Deonte Banks again. Deonte Banks has quickly become a guy who likes to talk a lot, and not back it up when he's on the field against elite receivers, right? Deonte Banks is a very good corner against elite receivers when he has a little bit of help. When he's one-on-one against an elite receiver, he seems to struggle just a little bit. He made a couple big plays. Like I think the first drive of the game, he made a play that he easily could have been called for pass interference, and they didn't throw the flag, surprisingly, because they threw flags the rest of the game for everything else. But there was the play where CeeDee Lamb broke open for that 55-yard touchdown. I saw Deonte Banks jogging after Lamb got past him. That's completely unacceptable. Giants need help in the secondary. They need help. They invested all their money. With the extra money that they've wound up having in free agency, they invested into trading and extending Brian Burns. They traded for and extended Brian Burns, and now Brian Burns isn't giving them the production that they expected. Okay. They expected Brian Burns to be, maybe not a 15 sack guy. Like, no one's asking for that, although that would be great. They're not asking for 15 sacks out of Brian Burns. We're just asking him to pressure the quarterback consistently. Now, if that's a lot to ask, then I just don't know what else to do. I don't know where they go from here. I just don't know where they go from here. At this stage again, I'm never going to go in cheering for losses until, when it's like 2 weeks left in the season and the Giants are completely out of it and they could move up for a pick, maybe I'll cheer for a loss at that time. Just to better the draft position, even though draft position doesn't really mean much. Just pick the best player. Doesn't matter where you sit. But they have 10 days off now. Now you're going to Seattle, who's already 3-0, right? Seattle's 3-0. They potentially could be 4-0 when we go play them. I like that. I wish that. If they go 4-0, you look at that thing where they do for a loss. Maybe the Giants go in there, they sneak a win. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't know the direction. I don't know the direction of the franchise. I don't know. I think Dable's the head coach that this team should stick with. I know he was a little more aggressive today. The one that you could question was the third quarter, and it was fourth and goal from the 3. Wandell, if Wandell had broken that one tackle, he could have gotten to the end zone, but he didn't. He was tackled at the 3. A lot of people wanted them to go for it there. I think it was 17-12 at the time, and a lot of people wanted the Giants to just go for that. There's pros and cons to going for that. The right move there is to kick the field goal and go down 2. Go down 17-15, which he did. That's the right move. The ballsy move, or the risky move, is to go for it on 4th down. Worst case scenario, you don't get it. Dallas is still down. Dallas is still only up by 5, and they start with the ball at their own 3. I see both sides. I see both arguments. And, the aggressive side of me says, screw it. This team's kicked your ass for so many years. Just go for it. Who cares? Just go. Maybe you get it. There's a good chance you get it. They've been moving the ball very well all game. There's a good chance. And then the conservative side says, take the 3. Hopefully your defense gets off the field, which they did the next possession. And the Giants had multiple opportunities to score touchdowns and take the lead. But Brian, I like the play calling. I just honestly think the quarterback is holding this offense back. It's not holding Malik Neighbors back. Malik Neighbors is making Daniel Jones look like a more than average quarterback. Right? You're seeing that every time they're on the field together. Malik Neighbors is turning Daniel Jones into an above average quarterback on nights like tonight. But Malik Neighbors can't throw himself the football. That's the problem. He can't throw himself the football because on that first play, if Jones leads him correctly, Neighbors takes that ball 70 yards for a touchdown. And Slayton in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, Jones threw on the right side to Slayton. Slayton completely blew past the cornerback and was open for an over-the-top touchdown. You see all these other quarterbacks do it. You see all these other quarterbacks do it. They lead the man into the end zone. They just lead them. Jones just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have the arm strength to throw the deep ball. There was some curl routes as well where Jones, it just from the naked eye, right? If you're not an NFL scout, you don't have to be an NFL scout. If you're not a quarterback whisperer or a quarterback guru or a quarterback lover or a Daniel Jones apologist, it just looks like when Daniel Jones throws the football, it just honestly looks like it takes forever to reach the receiver's hands. That's why he has no arch on his deep throws. That's why when guys are running past the corners, they have to, if you notice on every Daniel Jones deep ball, the receiver has to come back for the football. It's never the case where he overthrows a guy, at least for tonight. Tonight he didn't overthrow anybody. He couldn't even reach on some plays. He couldn't even reach. It was a little depressing when you see a guy running open and another one. Neighbors was running a post, and if you have a quarterback that could put the ball on a great angle throw, Neighbors had to come back into double coverage to make a play on the ball. You can't do that. You can't put your receivers in that position. I like throwing the ball up. I like taking the 50-50 shot. I don't mind that. I love that. When it's one-on-one, take the 50-50 shot. But when a receiver's running a post route, you got to lead the football. You can't make Malik Neighbors. You turned a one-on-one play where it's the sideline, Neighbors, and a corner. You turned that throw into Neighbors coming back for the ball, letting the corner regain position, and then letting the safety come in front of them and almost intercept the football. You can't do that. And that's where the Giants, that's where I say the Giants are being held back by the quarterback play. That's why I say that. Because there's throws out there to be had. Sometimes he throws to Wan'Dale Robinson like he's 6'6", not understanding Wan'Dale Robinson's 5'8", 5'9" on a good day. Yeah, I can't watch bad quarterback play anymore. I can't do it. So where do you go from here, right? Let's get into that real quickly. Where do you go from here? A lot of fans are saying they're 1-3, season's over. A lot of fans are saying 0-1, the season was over. I was one of those people, by the way. But where do you go from here? You're 1-3. You have a week off. You go into Seattle now for week 5. I can't believe it's week 4 already. It's going to be week 5. Wow. Now you're going into Seattle with a 3-0 Seattle team, and you're not playing Seattle at home. Not like the Giants ever have a home field advantage anyway. MetLife Stadium sucks. It sucks so bad. I can't stand looking at that stadium. It's so bad that that we play in that stadium. Anyway, now you're going into Seattle that, they always seem to have your number except for that Colt McCoy game in 2020 during COVID. Seattle embarrassed you, completely embarrassed you last year. That's the game Daniel Jones threw the pick six to Witherspoon. Giants were down a couple scores anyway at that time, but never really competitive in that game. Where do you go from here? Where do you go from here if you're the Giants, right? You're not going to bench Jones. They're not going to bench him. I don't want to go to DeVito. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through that crap again. I wouldn't be against going to Drew Lock. I really wouldn't. Man, I'm telling. Lock could make those deep throws. Lock could put the ball over the top. He's gonna. I'm not saying Drew Lock is better than Daniel Jones. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Drew Lock is better than Daniel Jones. But Lock won't have a problem putting that ball over the top for a receiver to make a play on. Right? He'll put the ball where it has to be on those deep throws. He's got a bigger arm. He's got a great arm, a huge arm. Big arm, way bigger than Jones on the deep throws. And it's probably a stronger throw in terms of velocity anyway. I felt, as a whole, before I relook at the tape, I felt just as a whole that the offense didn't play too badly. They put themselves in positions to score the football. They just couldn't punch it in. Now, I don't know. Does that take time? That's not something that takes time. Neighbors is getting everything he can. Robinson's getting all these plays. Giants are getting nothing out of their wide receiver 3 and 4. You have Isaiah Hodgins on the practice squad. Maybe give him a shot. I don't know what Jalen Hyatt's role is on this team. Hyatt was supposed to be the guy that you go to. Right now, you have Jalen Hyatt, whose specialty is running the deep post and flat out running because he's fast as hell. And you paired him with a quarterback that can't throw the ball deep accurately. And when he does, like I said, when he does throw deep, it's not accurate. It seems like a mismatch, doesn't it? Having a quarterback, when he throws deep, it's not accurate, but then drafting a receiver whose specialty is going deep and catching big chunk plays. I watched Jalen Hyatt in his rookie season last year make some of those plays. And I watched him, besides that Arizona game, a lot of the deep balls came from Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito. A lot of those chunk plays. Remember the Christmas Day game against Philly? Or the game against the Rams? Tyrod Taylor was throwing the ball 40 yards downfield to Darius Slayton, to Jalen Hyatt, to Isaiah Hodgins. It's the quarterback. I deep down think it's the quarterback. I think this offense could be very, very good. I think this offense has potential with the line fixed a little. The running game was terrible today, but Singletary's a good running back. You got weapons. You clearly got weapons. Malik Neighbors is off to one of the greatest rookie seasons through his first 4 games in NFL history. NFL history. He's making Daniel Jones look competent. Do you understand how hard it is to make a guy like Daniel Jones look competent? Malik Neighbors is doing that now, right? He's doing that. So, I mean, as a fan, you hope at this point maybe they could steal a win at Seattle. I think the Bengals follow that at home. I think they play a Sunday night game against Cincinnati after that, if I'm not mistaken. Or they're at Pittsburgh. One of the two. But I'll start off. I'll end the stream starting it off with how I'll end the stream saying what I said to start off the stream. the franchise is broken now. The franchise is broken. You just go back to the simple thing of good teams find ways to win. Chiefs, 49ers, Cowboys, not the Cowboys this year, but Chiefs, 49ers, Lions, Bills. Bad teams find ways to lose. The Giants, the Bears, the Jets for years, the Lions for years. This just is what it is now. The Giants are a team that has to overcome so many things for them to win a football game now. They have to overcome so many. Think about what I'm saying. The Giants have to overcome multiple things throughout a game to win the football game. When this used to be a team, the Giants used to be a franchise that other teams would have to overcome mistakes and overcome penalties and overcome drops, overcome missed tackles. Other teams used to have to do that with the Giants. It's hard to believe, depending on what age you are, the Giants used to be a pretty good franchise. Depending on how old you are. If you're like a 20-year-old now, you've seen nothing but garbage. Because realistically, you're not really like a diehard fan until you're, 9, 10, 11? Where you start understanding the intricacies of the game, how it's played, the rules, how teams run. I think you go through that at a young age. When you first start cheering for a team, it's crap. They lost. My favorite team lost. That sucks. Then you get older and you say, this is why they lost. This is why they won. And you get a little older and you realize this is why they're losing. And this is why they're winning. Start to formulate your own opinions like you're an actual general manager or a coach. And you find yourself in the position I am, where I started cheering for the Giants realistically in the year 2000, probably when they made the Super Bowl. And as the years have gone on, I was spoiled. If you're my age, I'm 33. If you're my age, you were spoiled, right? They drafted Eli Manning. They drafted Eli Manning in 2004. So you got to watch and say what you want about Eli Manning. It doesn't matter. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my eyes, based on what the NFL story is with him. But for 15 seasons, we didn't have to worry about quarterbacks. 15 years, we didn't have to worry about on a weekly basis who's starting at quarterback. Right? We just had him penciled in for so many years, and we got spoiled. And now it's all catching up to us. And we're in purgatory at this point. We're in purgatory because I guess the light at the end of the tunnel is maybe we're a quarterback away. That's what I think. My personal opinion is that we're one quarterback away from being a good team. I think we're a franchise quarterback away. Or a competent quarterback. You'd love to have a franchise quarterback, but we're a competent quarterback away from being a very good team. And I just believe it. I just think Daniel Jones is holding this offense back. I think that every week, if you look at the film every week, there are plays left out there to be desired. There are plays all over the field that could be had if Daniel Jones read his progressions correctly and threw the ball where it was supposed to go. I'm not a professional quarterback. I'm not a coach. I'm not a GM. I'm just a guy who watches film after these games. And I see Jones doesn't give time for plays to develop. Jones, he's a quick trigger when he sees an open guy. Jones will take the short 2-yard curl over the 15-yard post that will need a tougher throw. right? A quarterback with confidence will take the shot on the 15-yard out. A quarterback that wants to take the right-away check down will take the 2-yard curl. That's why in a lot of these games with Jones over the last few years, and you've noticed it tonight, and if you haven't, keep your eye on it, Jones will go. It doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 8, 2nd and 15. It could be 1st and 12 on a penalty. It could be 1st and 10. It could be 2nd and 10. It could be 3rd and 10. If that quick 2-yard curl is there, Jones is throwing it instantly to hit, just to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Instead of letting a play develop, he takes that right away 2-yard curl on a 3rd and 8, and you're screaming at the TV. 3rd and 8, you're screaming because they have to get past the sticks, and he just doesn't give the chance for the routes to develop. So I'm going to end it here. I'm going to put out a video tomorrow about a post game, a little more enthusiastic. This one's a little down in the dumps. I'm not surprised they lost, but for them to keep it close and competitive, obviously it hurts more when you don't win, when the game's close. The 40-0 game last year, it was numb. You're numb by halftime at that point because the game was not even competitive. But when the game's competitive and you play a tight game like this against the Cowboys team that's in disarray, and they're not good, the Cowboys are not good. It's frustrating. So again, if you guys watch, thank you for coming in, commenting, and we'll see you on the post game in a little bit of a lighter mood tomorrow. Have a good night.